Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sin. I am the PvE officer for the WoW division of Remnants of Hope. Thank you for joining us for episode 2 of our rating workshop. Today we're going to be going over add-ons and UI management. Today I'm not in game. I am actually watching a replay from my stream of one of our raids earlier a couple weeks ago. And I am going to play the video with no sound, and we are going to take a look at all the components of my UI. This is not a UI that is for everybody. A lot of people will tell you, especially my wife, that my UI is very, very busy, but it's a lot of information that I, as a raid leader and as a tank, need to know. So this UI can be tweaked and changed to your settings, but I'm going to go over a few of the add-ons and what they do for me. So as you can see, we have just pulled, and I have my timers. My immediate timers are right here above this big box, and I will explain this big box here in a little while. I use the standard LVUI name tags, and you can see that purple over here, this means that another tank currently has aggro on this mob. Green means that I currently have aggro. If the nameplate were to be red, then that would mean that a non-tank has aggro on that specific mob. You can see the stalkers coming out that they're red. Over here on the far left-hand side, we have this box, and this is basically a box of cooldowns, raid-wide cooldowns that I have selected. The add-on for this is called Aura 3, and that is ORA 3. You can completely customize it to exactly which cooldowns from exactly which class you want. You can change how the bars look. You will see when somebody uses a cooldown, I will actually get a progress bar for when that is available again. Along with Aura 3, the cooldowns in the box, you can see the timer starting now. Along with the cooldowns, I also have over here a battle res monitor. So anytime somebody reses, I can see who used the res and who the res was used on. I can also see the green number is how many reses are available. With the scaling now for raids, it depends on how many people you have in the raid. You typically start off with 1. And at 10 people, it's around 4.5 minutes till you get another battle res. But they do stack up, so if nobody were to die and nobody gets resed, we could possibly end a 12-minute fight with 3 battle reses, more or less. The more people that you have in the raid group, obviously, the more battle reses you get. It's not that you get more, it takes less time for them to count down. At a full 30 people, I think it's just over 1.5 minutes per battle res, so you can battle res a lot of people in a 30-man. Okay, this big box that's right here in front of me, this is my weak ores that I have set up for my Death Knight, and this shows, how many stacks of Bone Shield that I have. The blue bar is my runic power. These bars here with the timers, these are how many runes that I have. And it also will show Blood Boil, like how many targets it hits, because I do have a trait that every time my Blood Boil hits a single target, it increases the healing from my Death Strike. So it will also show how many stacks of that buff that I have, so I know how much healing my Death Strike is going to do. Down here it's like a utility bar, shows all of my movement cooldowns. This is the res, control undead, my mass grip, my regular grip, and a magic shell. Just basic cooldowns. My dancing rune weapon is in a different spot because it's actually considered an offensive cooldown. But they will be on the left-hand side, and my defensive cooldowns, which would be my vampiric blood and my icebound fortitude, they are going to be on the right-hand side. Raid feigns were pretty standard. The text is really small on a lot of people's screens, but I do play on a very, very large screen, so it works for me. I use details for my damage and healing meters. I like details a lot because it is very, very in-depth if you want it to be. You can click on the little skull right here and it'll show you a big, big map and graph about everything that happened throughout the fight. Different phases you can single out to see who had the highest DPS for that specific phase if it's a multi-phase fight. But that is essentially my UI. I have a floating combat text add-on that kind of moves because as a tank you get hit and healed a lot, so you have a lot more cluster on your screen. If I were to turn off that add-on and have it be just the standard Blizzard UI, the numbers would be overpowering every single visual on the screen. At this point, I don't think there's too many questions about UI and add-ons. Um, but yeah, that's just about it for tonight's. If you guys have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and you can hop back in Discord and we can go from there. Thank you and good night.